we're back with another video, guys. Today we're obviously going to talk about something new, and it's a question that that's been on my mind, and I just wanted to share my thoughts and opinions with the rest of you. But a lot of people, that have started to jump out their comfort zone and move forward and want to begin their personal development journey, you're here at the right place. And today's question, or his main question, is what are some of the things that I will endure during my self-improvement journey? And today I'm going to give you 5 main things that will happen to you when you begin your self-improvement journey, your personal development journey, whatever you want to call it. But these are the 5 things that will happen when you begin your self-improvement journey. And I'm going to give you some things that the thing that I'm going to give you, like what's going to happen and how to avoid it if you at the best you can, and ways to get around it and ways to solve the things that will happen when a person endures some of these things when they begin their self-improvement journey. So stick around for the whole video. There's a little, surprise at the end. So stick around and let's begin the video. Right, so number 1 on the list of 5 things that a person will endure on this journey of self-improvement is that the number 1 thing is, and it's quite a main thing, you will suffer a lot from loneliness. You will be very lonely for very long periods of time, and you will feel like you are stuck in this kind of loophole of just being, lonely. But the thing is, right, when you begin to level up, right, and you move away from your friends and you move away from the distractions in your life and you begin to really focus on yourself, you realize it becomes a very lonely journey. It becomes very scary as well. And the thing is, when you're lonely, you start to realize a lot of things that you didn't realize before. When you're lonely and you start to observe the things you see, when you start observing, you start to realize a lot of things that didn't make sense before but now does. You now understand why are people starting to vape all of a sudden. You understand why are people becoming so lazy in this day and age. So, and that's just a thing about being loneliness. And now being lonely is very, how can I say it? It can be very dangerous. Loneliness can be something that's bad for you, because as human beings, we need to be socially interactive. But when you're just sitting by yourself, trying to improve on yourself, mentally and physically, it will become very lonely. When you're in the gym late at night, just improving your body physically, it becomes very lonely. When you're mentally trying to become stronger, it will become very tough and lonely. But what are the things that come out of loneliness? Now, one thing that can come out of loneliness is that a person can build themselves. You're by yourself, you learn to self-improve, you can build yourself, you can build a new person that was never there before, you can build someone new. So that's one thing about being lonely. Being lonely by yourself kind of directs you in your own path. And there's a quote that says that there is no traffic when you're in your own lane. Now that's very powerful. When you're lonely and you're in your own path and you strive to become better every day and you do your own things, then at the end of the day, you are going to become the better person at the end of the road. Nobody else. You're going to become the better person. And it relates to consistency as well. But, that's one thing that comes out of loneliness, is that a person can really build themselves. And the other thing is that you start to observe a lot of things in this world that didn't make sense before. And like I said, they start making sense once you start realizing and you start observing the greater things in this world. So the 2 key points you can pick up on this first bit is that, number 1, being lonely is a bad thing, but can be used as a good thing to build a new character that wasn't there before. So the first thing is that you can build a new person, build a new version of yourself. And the second thing that you can take from being on this lonely process is that you start to observe a lot more things. And when you observe a lot more things, number 1, you learn more. Number 2, you realize a lot more things. And it just becomes much more clearer on what your purpose is in this life. Right, so at number 2, we have that when you are on this self-improvement journey, a person will get and receive a lot of hate. They will be laughed at, they'll be mocked at, and it's all down to the person's mentality up here, whether they can mocked at, and it's all down to the person's mentality up here, whether they can handle the pressure. You want to be, a really top high level person. There's a lot of pressure that comes from just being at the bottom. yeah. And when you tell your dreams and your whatever you want to do in your life to other small-minded people, they will start to laugh and they will say, "Oh, you can't do that," or "Why are you doing that?" Well, that's not. Well, they can say that is their opinion, but it's up to you whether you personally take that or whether you ignore that and you carry on pursuing your dream and your goal. And at the end of the day, once you carry on, if you carry on pursuing your goals and your dreams and you keep going towards, you know, working every single day, consistently working hard, then at the end of the day, you will be the winner. And when you show up every day and you get the rewards and you get the success that you want, then you can look back at the people that used to doubt you and used to hate you for what you're doing and used to laugh at you. You can then happily say that you deserve this, you know, that it was all right out, that you was right all along. And that feeling that a person gets is just unbelievable. So for all my young people out there who are striving to be better themselves, just keep going. You're not the only ones out there. I am with you in this journey as well. So anything, and you know, it's like even, it can be really tough, for example, when family members as well turn their backs on you and they start laughing and they don't even help you out. That can be a real problem when your own family and your own friends start to neglect you. Now that's one thing that, you know, there's a quote that says that you don't need anyone to succeed. You can have a team to succeed, a team that inspires you. But when people who, like, let's say family members that don't approve of what you're doing, or maybe, you know, they laugh at you and they mock you and they violate you, whatever, then it's up to you to be resistant and to retaliate all what they say mentally, and for you to keep going, just keep pursuing the dream, and one day it will all pay off. So number 2 is that on this journey of self-improvement, you will receive most definitely hate, laughed at, mocked. You know, you would be just like, people would just disregard you and wouldn't even talk to you. And this could be from your friends, family members, and even people that you know, your work colleagues, whatever. So, and a little tip that I will give a person is to not share your dream, you know, just work in silence, work in the dark, and let your success shine in the light. Number 3, coming in on this, you know, top 5 list of things that people will endure during their self-improvement journey is you will have a lot of urges, physically and mentally, from the distractions that you once left. Now these urges will keep coming back and keep coming back and keep coming back. And you know what? There's a little thing. These urges that will keep coming back are tests being put on you. These are physical and mental tests being put on you to see whether or not you are really built for the task ahead. You know, and only the mentally strong and physically strong people will get past these tests very easily. But the people who begin this journey and then lose after a week or so, or a month or a year, and they fall back into the habit, then they're not, you know, the right people. You can always try again, but it's about, if you do it right first time, you won't do it again. So the many urges that a person will get, man, woman, as a young person as well, many urges that you'll get to go, you know, partying, whatever, or checking your phone at night, staying up late, playing games all day, not just sitting in bed all day, not trying to do the things that you want to do, being lazy, procrastinating. These are all the things that add up, and they're small things. These are the small things that add up, and at the end of the day, can be hugely disappointing at the end of the day, because the small things do add up. But that's not over, you know what? So like, what I'm trying to say is that the urges you get, you've got to fight them off. There's no other way. You have to resist and fight yourself. There's nobody else who's going to stop you. Nobody else is going to tell you that what you're doing is wrong. Nobody else is going to tell you that you've got to change. You've got to change yourself, and that starts with the distractions and the urges you receive that you get now. They have to stop completely, and you must literally tell yourself, you have to beat yourself up and say, look, what I'm doing is not good. I've got to stop. And it becomes a mental war. It becomes a war between yourself mentally, and that is the hardest part of this entire journey. Anybody can start reading books, but then to be able to consistently do it with no urges, no distractions, and keep doing it and progress further in life is what mentally strong people do. So if you are willing to be one of those people, then you've got to fight those urges, and these urges can be really tough in many situations, but at the end of the day, it's a mental war between ourselves. And one tip to help you lot with, you know, these urges that we get is to try find the root of these urges. So what could be the root of these possible urges? What causes you to have these urges? And just eliminate the root, and then there will be no, you know, nothing will grow from that. If you have a really bad habit of drinking, for example, you find out the root. Why do you drink in the first place? Do you drink because you're not happy at your work? Well then, why don't you just, you know, make your own money or something? Or why don't you just change your work environment? Or change something about your work that you start to enjoy it a bit more? Then you won't be having, you know, this, whatever, alcohol or something. So it's these kind of urges and these small habits that, you know, can develop into much larger problems. So the main thing that I'll say to control these urges is you gotta beat yourself up, you gotta tell yourself that, okay, it's not worth it. And secondly, one way to stop all these urges, and, you know, if you have any addictions, whatever, is that you have to find the root and solve it from there. So that's number three. Number three is that a person will have many urges, many distractions that will come upon their life, and these are many tests, and the only way to get rid of it is by going through a mental war with yourself. Now, coming in at number 4 is a really kind of huge topic and a huge like subtopic that's coming in this top 5, and it is that people, when you begin your self-improvement journey, you will start to lose friends and family members. You know, you will lose a lot of people in your life when you start to become serious about your goals, and that's just how life is. The quote that goes that a bus, you know, has seats for 30 people, but a Lamborghini has seats for 2, which shows that, you know, everybody wants a Lamborghini, but look at the cost. There's only 2 seats. You can't have everyone. And the same way, not everyone in your life is going to stay with you, and not everyone that you think will stay will stay. People will leave regardless. There's numerous things that can happen, so many situations that can happen any day, any part of the day, and people can leave. And at the end of the day, you need to be ready for that. The huge thing is, if you think that your friends are going to stay with you, you got another thing coming. You need to mentally prepare yourself for that day. That day when you start to level up, your friends will leave, and your maybe family members will leave. You have to level up and you have to be ready to be alone for a very long period of time when you're focusing on yourself. That is a very crucial thing and a very important thing that hopefully listeners, you are listening into. You must be physically, mentally ready to endure the pain and loneliness that will come when your friends and family members will leave, or when you decide to leave your friends and family members to pursue your own goals for the better good of yourself. Yeah, so that's number 4. Obviously, number 4 is that you will start to lose a lot of friends, family members, close people, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whatever. You will start to lose a lot of things, maybe that you own because of what you're doing. Maybe you have to get rid of, and sometimes you have to get rid of these things. Sometimes these things don't go by themselves. Sometimes you have to get rid of them, but it is all down to a person's mental, you know, mental welfare kind of, and a mental war between themselves. Every day a person goes through a mental war, but then they must be physically and mentally ready to for that day to come when they will either leave their friends and family members, or when their family members and friends will leave them. But you are doing it for a greater cause, and that cause is for bettering yourself and following your dream. So number 4 is that you will eventually people will leave, and you just got to be there on your own. You got to feed yourself, you got to, you know, change yourself, you got to control yourself, you got to discipline yourself, you got to motivate yourself. You got to be your own thing at the end of the day, yeah? So number 4 is that you will lose friends and family members, so be mentally and physically prepared for that. Now, coming in for the last thing on our top 5 list of things that will happen when a person begins their self-improvement journey, their personal development process, is that a person will have to learn to become disciplined. Discipline is the key word here, and I said it in a previous video as well. Discipline is such a huge thing. The pain of discipline weighs ounces, whereas the pain of regret weighs tons, kilos, in fact, as a matter of fact. Heavy amount of pain you feel mentally when you regret something. But the discipline pain, going through discipline is much harder, but the pain is so little. Going through regret is much easier, but the pain is up there mentally as one of the worst a person could ever feel. Discipline will take you further than motivation. Discipline will take you to your dreams. Motivation will only get you started. Hear me out, listeners, yeah? To all the people watching this, motivation and people who are on the self-development journey, they will realize this. This is the first thing they will realize. And I'll put this last because it's a huge thing. The first thing that self-improvement people and people on this journey and this movement, the first thing that they will realize is that motivation is bullshit. And discipline is the key thing. Motivation will get a person started, don't get me wrong. Motivation will get you started. A person feels motivated to go to the gym. Cool. But then what happens when that motivation goes? And nobody's there to push them again. They're back at square one. They're back in the same place where they was. But let's say for example, let's say that's person A. And let's say person B, who is motivated by, I don't know, somebody he watched on YouTube and he wants to go to the gym. So he's motivated to go to the gym. But he knows that in order to go to the gym, he must stay 1, consistent, and 2, disciplined. So what does he do? He stays disciplined. He wakes up early in the morning, he knows it's hard, but he becomes disciplined. He says, you know what, I have to do this. And he gets up and he goes early in the gym, late nights in the gym, after work in the gym, before work gym, you know? And that's the discipline that comes with it. And another example would be, discipline could be getting 8 hours of sleep, which in this day and age is unbelievable about the amount of people don't even get at least a minimum 8 hours of sleep. It's really amazing. And then you wonder why so many problems come about. And it's not a coincidence. Sleep, I can tell you from my own personal experience as well, sleep and a person's mental health and how they feel during the day are strongly related. So I advise you, another thing is to get your 8 hours sleep. But a person who is disciplined and says, look, I need to sleep 8 hours, goes to bed early and wakes up early, instead of a person who sleeps in late and then decides to wake up early, getting like 3-4 hours sleep, or a person who sleeps late and wakes up late. Yes, you get 8 hours, but the point is you wake up early. Now you've just wasted your whole day. What are you going to do for the whole time? So discipline is a key thing. Discipline will take you a lot further. And another thing about discipline is that discipline makes today hard, but tomorrow easier. And the choices, and if you become a slave to your emotions and your desires, being a slave to your emotions and desires makes today easier, but tomorrow harder. Every single day, if you decide you want to eat junk food, whatever, it is nice junk food and it feels good once you're eating it, but then tomorrow it becomes hard when you're fat and it becomes harder. Now it's extremely hard to lose weight now because of the amount of weight you put on. Similarly, a disciplined person will eat healthy one day, eat healthy the next day, and gradually over time they will see that the body is healthy and they feel mentally better and they feel physically better as well. So that's the one thing that I want to talk to you, like I touched upon about. So consistency and discipline really go together. And so number 5 is that when a person is on the self-improvement journey, is that the first thing they will learn, and I put it at number 5, but the first thing they will learn is that discipline is key, regardless of whatever you do, no matter what it is. Discipline is key. Motivation is bullshit. You need to forget about that. Definitely use motivation to get you started, but don't use motivation if you think it's going to take you in the long term. Motivation only works in the short run, whereas discipline works both in the short run and long run. So number 5 is discipline. Be disciplined, stay hungry, work hard, and your dreams and goals will eventually come true. But the thing that a person must learn is patience. But that's a separate video. And yeah, so that's the 5 things that we have covered today, and the 5 things obviously we have covered. So yeah, hopefully, yeah. And guys, if you enjoyed and have learned something from this video, definitely hit the like button, subscribe if you're new here, share this video because you never know who you could be helping out. So share this video with someone else that you want to get them on this kind of movement and this journey. Share this video, let them know about it. And yeah, and the surprise that we're going to talk about is that I have paired up with MindZoom. You can check out my Instagram down in the description. I've got all the details there. You can sign up and you can purchase one of their online products. only I think £20, I believe. But once you get this, it is unbelievable. I've used it myself as well, and you get these positive affirmations that come onto your computer screen every day, and that literally builds up your physical and mental well-being, and it just makes a person much more positive instead of looking at this, you know, social media and that. This is something worth more investing. So if I was you, I would definitely use this chance as an investment to invest into MindZoom. Check out my Instagram down below, and then you can check it out, the whole page. You can check out the website, it's in my Instagram bio, and you can obviously purchase it from there. It will definitely help me out, and it will definitely help you out for sure. So definitely check out MindZoom down in the description below. And yeah, so thank you guys for listening and watching the video. I hope you guys have learned something. If you have learned something new today, please let me know in the comments. So obviously, you know, it's good for me to get the feedback, and you know, so we can improve the channel. Yeah, so if you learned something, let me know down in the comments below. And yeah, guys, I'll see you lot next week. Thank you lot for this video. See you lot in a bit.